In my last character study, I asked whether Boba Fett could be considered a villain. I gave my analysis, and in my own mind I concluded that he is more of an anti-hero. In this version, I will ask the same of Jango Fett. Is Jango Fett a villain? The question isn't whether he is a criminal, or is he an antagonist, but is he a villain? Someone who does harm for the sake of terror or disorder. Someone who does mean or evil things on purpose. If you don't know Jango Fett's backstory and have only seen the Star Wars prequel films, notably Attack of the Clones, you would see Jango Fett as a genuine villain. But that just means you don't know who he was before he was a ruthless bounty hunter and the DNA template for the cloned Grand Army of the Republic. So, let me give you a brief backstory. Jango Fett was born to Clan Fett of Concord Dawn, a Mandalorian world in the Mandalorian sector. As a child, Jango witnessed his parents killed at the hands of Death Watch, a terrorist faction of Mandalorians that sought out the complete domination of the galaxy and a return to the founding ways of the Mandalorian culture, conquest, murder, and so on. As he ran from Death Watch, he was found by Jaster Muriel, the Mandalore of the time, and leader of the True Mandalorians, a faction that sought reform in Mandalorian society. The True Mandalorians wanted to be more honorable warriors and take on work as warriors such as bounty hunting and private security, in an effort to keep warrior traditions alive without harming innocent beings and their own cultures. Jaster Muriel raised Jango as his son and taught him the way of the Mandalore, which Jango eventually became. When Jango was an adult, the leader of Death Watch killed Jaster Muriel, then tricked the Jedi Order into wiping out the rest of the true Mandalorians. Jango was then taken into custody by the Jedi and made a slave. He escaped to find himself in exile. He took on a profession he saw as honorable, bounty hunting. When approached by Count Dooku, Jango was tested and given the opportunity to be the clone template for the army that would exact revenge on the Jedi who killed his adoptive family. Okay, that's the short version of his story, and it brings us up to the timeline of Attack of the Clones. We all know what happens next. Jango, along with a helper, makes an attempt on Padme Amidala's life and works for Count Dooku as part of his security. Jango is discovered and confronted by Jedi Obi-Wan Kenobi. Jango escapes and Kenobi follows him to Geonosis, where Padme and Anakin Skywalker are now being held for execution. Kenobi is captured and given the same fate as his Padawan and Senator Amidala. Other Jedi arrive and Jango is killed by Mace Windu. That's the short version. So it would seem Jango has a villain's backstory after all. A man trying to do good but is betrayed by those literature calls the protagonists, the Jedi. His family is killed and he has a reason for revenge. But does that automatically make him a villain? Well, attempted murder is still illegal. But, like I said, we aren't asking if Jango Fett is a criminal. Of course he's involved with criminal activity. He sides with a movement that wants to secede from the galaxy's central political system. He also attempts to murder a senator of the ruling political power. So yes, he is a criminal. That's well established. At the same time, the political system in place is allowing slavery and ignoring the needs of smaller worlds with less to offer and oppressing their voices. In our own world history, we would call Jango Fett and his affiliates freedom fighters. But what about the point of view? We are shown the Star Wars universe through the side of the Jedi and the Republic. Obi-Wan, Padme, Amidala, Mace Windu, Yoda, Senator Bail Organa, all seen as the heroes. So any act toward them would be an act of villainy. That includes Palpatine's act against the Republic by ordering the death of the Jedi and turning the Republic into the Empire. Palpatine is a villain. Palpatine also plays both sides of the Clone Wars as a smoke and mirrors tactic without regard for innocent life. Villain. But enough about Papa Palpatine. What about Jango Fett? Well, earlier I gave the backstory to Jango. Remember how I said he was taught the ways of the true Mandalorians? A reform within Mandalorian culture that would continue their warrior tradition by taking on work such as bounty hunting and private security without harming innocent life? Well, I didn't mention that family is at the top of the true Mandalorian tenets. So is clan and taking on orphan children into their culture, Not to mention all life forms are welcome to be Mandalorian if they so choose to willingly. What we see Jango Fett act on is what he was paid to do as a bounty hunter. He was hired to assassinate Padme Amidala. Is it right? Of course not. But it is the profession he was raised to, adhere to, and respect. Almost like he has a certain code, even in exile. So does that make money the motivating factor in his life? Maybe, but what about revenge for the deaths of his adopted family and the cause of his own slavery and his exile? Probable. True, revenge is one of the characteristics of a villain. Darth Maul said, "At last we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last we will have revenge." And we all know how Darth Maul was seen as a villain. Again, I point the point of view of the storyteller. Would you still see Darth Maul a villain if we were showed what the Jedi did on Malachor? Well, what if the films were shot from the point of view of the Mandalorians? Mandalorians in a civil war. Mandalorians who were autonomous and separate of the Republic, neutral to the Republic, self-governing. Well, our own world has a problem when a certain country interjects themselves into other countries' civil wars. The Vietnam conflict, the Korean conflict, the war for oil in the Middle East. Then why do we want to claim Jango Fett as a villain for getting revenge on a superpower for stepping into the Mandalorian civil war and killing his family? Because it is the point of view we are shown. The Republic and Jedi are good. We are not shown their atrocities throughout history, and they even called the light side. If we were given a true Mandalorian point of view, we would see it the other way around, the Jedi and the Republic as being evil. Well, we were given that point of view in the Bounty Hunter video game and the comic miniseries Jango Fett Open Seasons. We see Jango as the protagonist and the Jedi as the antagonist. So my summary is this. Jango Fett is what he says, a simple man trying to make his way in the universe. Because he is just that. He is alone and trying to survive with a skill he was taught. Does that mean money is his driving factor? No, it means he needs the money to survive. Most of the time, bounty hunters are sent to find fugitives and miscreants, mostly taking jobs from cartels to take other members of cartels or spice runners that drop their shipments. Yes, I know that was Boba Fett and not Jango Fett, but these are usually the kind of jobs they are taking. So my thought is this. Since we are shown a forced perspective from that point of view, Jango is a criminal, not a villain. He is more of an anti-hero. He causes minor setbacks for the heroes of the story, but you are free to make up your own mind on it. But before you do, let's do a comparison. In the Mandalorian series, we see Djarin as the hero of the story. No ifs, ands, or buts. He was on a mission to return Grogu, or Baby Yoda if you prefer, to the Jedi Order. Mando saved the child's life, and he was pure good. Well, he was also a bounty hunter, rounding up those he was paid to round up, killing those he was paid to kill, even threatening to kill those he was not paid to kill. Cobb Vanth. Why? For his armor. It was a matter of Mandalorian pride. Had he killed Cobb Vanth for the armor, no one would have batted an eye. Let's go back to his rescue of Grogu, Baby Yoda if you prefer. He was paid very well to bring the child to an Imperial. He collected the fee and started to leave the child there until he had a change of heart. He doesn't care about money after all. Well, let's look at his circumstances. First of all, when he retrieved Grogu, Baby Yoda, from the Imperials, he didn't return the payment, did he? He kept it. So obviously the payment was important. It doesn't matter if the payment was credits or the precious metal from his people's homeworld. He took the payment and the child. Seems like a revenge move for the Imperial purge of Mandalore. A superpower getting into Mandalorian affairs and essentially wiping them out. Sounds a lot like Jango Fett's motivation in his story. But there's a big difference between Jango Fett and his son Boba Fett, for that matter, and the position of Din Djarin. Din Djarin wasn't alone. He had his covert, the Children of the Watch, to fall back on for support. Had he fell ill one day, one of the other members could go out and take on a bounty hunting job to put food on the table. Who did Jango and Boba Fett have to fall back on? No one. They had to rely on themselves and their own skills to survive. And how did they survive? By working the trade they were trained in and knew best. There is one more big difference in the Fetts and Din Djarin. We don't see Din Djarin hunt down any of our favorite heroes, or those appointed as heroes from the Force perspective. Had Din Djarin been hired to hunt Luke Skywalker or Ahsoka Tano and become successful to some degree, he would instantly be categorized as a villain, to those with closed minds as to what a villain or hero are. I mean, we even see Din Djarin in non-compliance with the new regime in charge, the New Republic, yet he is still a hero. Okay, I'm sorry for the rant there at the end. I really got a lot of hate for calling Boba Fett an anti-hero, but guess what? I'm passing the same judgment to his father, Jango Fett. But what do you think? What's your point of view? Do you think of Jango as a villain, anti-hero, or do you have another way to categorize him? Let me know in the comments below. I really enjoy the comments, even if we don't agree. And if you're new here, go on and hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications to stay up to date on all my Boba Fett, Jango Fett, Mandalorian, and general Star Wars discussions. Also, go on and hit that little thumbs up to show the love for the hard work I put into each video. Thank you for watching, and remember, this is the way, the only way.